Okay, let's see whether or not we've got some action here. I'm just making sure that my camera and everything is working. Let's see if I can just add a frame for you on this one. I apologize for the camera angle, the light, the bed, everything like that. I am looking to buy a proper camera lens for my DSLR, DLSR, that will hopefully blur out some of the background because as you can see it's quite a mess and very shiny as well. I apologize for that, but don't worry, we're not keeping in this frame for a huge amount of time. We're going to be on this frame. This is the sort of like the view we're going to be looking at, and I just need to make sure that the screen share is actually looking at the Chrome extension, and that's it. So hopefully the sound's all right. If not, let me know in the chat. I wanted to do some of these streams when I'm focusing in on GM prep. I know that there's quite a few of you who watch the YouTube channel who are into like Mythras and things. The screen share, I'm just checking the volume. It's not peaking, so I'll stick it where it is. I do have the chat up at the same time, but just to let you know, it might take me a few goes to sort of like get used to everything that I'm working on here. So behind me is where I normally stream from. As you can see, that's where I film all my I record the podcast there and film all my videos for anything to do with Mythras or this YouTube channel. On this machine is where it's on my iMac, and it's where I do all my editing. And I'm also very keen to show you how I prep, and I thought why not come across and use this new program Ecamm Live that I'm using, that I've paid out some cash for, so I thought I better start using it. Okay then, so without further ado, let's get on to it. So this is World Anvil, and this is something that you can gain access to via the Ko-fi site. I should have that up and running at a bot. I'm going to make some notes just while we're doing this. Let me just grab a pen. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. Ko-fi to bot page. Nice. So we'll put that on so you can get some links to it. I'll try to find it and post it, but it's in the description below. So there's several things that I'm working on at the moment. We're currently doing our M-Space campaign, and at the end of every session I always end up with a huge amount of things that I need to process, that I need to work on, that I need to analyze, etc, etc, etc. And World Anvil is just where I store everything. It does have its own to-do list, but I actually prefer to have that on ClickUp, which is the program that I use for productivity, etc, etc. So there's several things that I'm working on at the moment. This is the idea of one of the subsectors, and what I'm sort of like trying to do with the subsector to try to build up the universe, and almost like to talk about the subsector, to talk about the number of planets, in there, etc. I've actually, I think it's maybe this article. I've started to create the sector, and so this is the sector, and then we have each ones of these are subsectors. So Lavito is where the players started, and I'm trying to go around and I did go through and think, right, I'll use some really cryptic names like Levito or Sothis and things like this, and then I thought, hang on a minute, why not just write words that you or use words that I will remember how to say it, and also players will. So you notice here that I've gone for more typo, number 13, canal, noteworthy, window, which is actually a town in our, or Windvine is the town in our Mythras campaign. So I've gone for that. And then what I'm doing in this is then starting to work on each one of these. And I'm literally using the template from the book, from the M Space book, this one. This is what I'm using to go through it. And then hopefully what I'll be able to do is share these images, this information directly to the players, because they'll all have accounts on World Anvil, so I can just show them directly. I'll probably have them in and show them in Roll20 as well. Excuse me. So the other thing that I've been working on, and I'm probably going to talk about it a little bit, maybe in the podcast, but also on a video, is this idea of somewhere here, there we go, enable focus mode. This idea that I wanted to create something that was a little bit less, a little bit, or almost like, I'm just going to try and move my camera, etc. Let me just unlock them both. I'm not too sure whether or not I can group them, but can I move them together, I wonder? I just realized that I think it should be, I should be on the opposite side, which I think is going to be a lot easier. Let me just try one more time. As I said before, this is a new venture, and it's a new program, so I'm not that proficient in it at the moment. Why can't I move that over the other side? That is completely weird, isn't it? I actually thought I would just be able to click it and move it across, but it doesn't look like I can. Okay, so can we, let's see if we can move the actual screen share. Maybe we can't move it while we're live. Maybe that is it. I'm not too sure. Okay, then never mind. I'll just take it out of focus mode, so it's a little bit further onto your screen. But definitely we need at the end, the other end. So this this is my idea about money and wealth and things like that. And what I'm trying to figure out here is that I want wealth not to be related to the actual money. I don't want people to get into the situation that they're having to micromanage how much money they've got, and you know, suddenly saying, oh, we're one credit off buying a starship, etc. And I've read some really good articles by Alex Green and Matt Eager about it, and although both of them were extremely good articles, I just felt that I needed to combine them or to create something that was a little bit the same, but also brought in some uniqueness to it. It's really, really annoying me that I can't move this to the other side. Let me just put you onto the be right back. No, I don't think that would do it. Let's lock that. I'm wondering whether or not it's purely because we're live and it's not letting me move it because we are live. So anyway, I'll add it to the list. Move webcam. It'll be better over the opposite side, most definitely, I think. Okay, then we'll just go with it. So what I'm sort of like working on at the moment is this idea that the money aspect of it is more abstract, but still meets the need of the actual party. So you can see from this that it starts off very clearly that there is this idea that some purchases do not require money. Okay, and I really established this straight up. So I didn't want them thinking that they go to a local bar and they want to have something to eat, and they're saying, how much does so-and-so cost? Because I wanted to move away from that to almost like give them the freedom to engage with the role playing and to be less focused on the cost of things, but more about what they were drinking. And we did something very similar in the adventure last night when I asked them about their outfits that they were wearing to go to a party, and that really sort of like opened up some ideas. So this idea that wealth is an abstract concept, and I've assigned it a skill value. And the first thing to understand is that 1% of a skill of 74% or something like that is not 1,000. It's an abstract concept about it and how it actually works. So that all went well, and this idea that they have a wealth skill and they can combine elements of the wealth skill to put a party wealth skill. And then we tried this out last night, and this is when it sort of like fell to pieces and it didn't actually work. I need to sort of like think this part I think works. This idea that if you're negotiating and you use your opposed roles, just your influence, etc., just as normal, and then that adds amounts to your wealth skill, like 1d4 plus 1, and it's quite random at that point. But one thing that didn't work, this idea of augmenting the role does work. I like the way that works, but there's no reason for them to only put 10% in. You might as well just put all the money in. And so there's a lot of work to be done on that. And I need to sort of like try to think of how it actually impacts on what they want to buy and how they want to buy it. And I've got some ideas about it, but I'm currently working on something that is a bit like a flow chart. That's actually saying this, if you want to buy something, this is how you use your commerce skill, etc., etc. So there's still lots of work to do on that, but today I wanted to start on something a little bit different, because I wanted to create an organization. And here it is. And I've done a bit of work on this already. So I've got sort of like some ideas. And apologies for typing, etc. I've already decided that I want to call it Project Nemesis. That's the sort of like the title of the group. And what I wanted to do in M space, they don't have orders or cults or anything like that. What they have is they have circles. 1 second. And the idea is that these circles are what people can actually join and interact with. I might miss some stuff on the chat because I need my penultimate document up where I started to make notes about this circle. Here we go. So the idea of this was to produce a circle where people they could actually join and become part of. So I thought this program used BB code. You can actually just type in, but I find it's more reliable when you're actually using it like this. So let's start off by almost like producing a mission statement. And I was thinking about the characters and what would appeal to them. And I decided to sort of like sum it up with exploration and justice. And this is sort of like my first idea. And this idea that the Project Nemesis has a variety of functions that it likes to do, a variety of things that it gets involved in. And one of the things that it gets involved in a lot is this idea of justice for all, almost like looking at the oppressed, making sure that big companies corporations don't rule over smaller, and this idea, but also this idea of legal justice as well. And I thought that would really appeal to Newman's character. So I'm just going to start to record that as we go, but I want to give before we do that, the first thing I want to put some idea about the history or the backstory of it. So let's put Project Nemesis was founded by. Now this is really important. We need to think who has actually founded Project Nemesis. Who was it founded by? and why was it founded. And I think if we've got those ideas, then we've got a good understanding of the circle right from the beginning. And initially I was sort of like thinking it was probably founded by sort of like two brothers, or a brother and a sister, or some kind of family unit who actually inherited money from their father, who actually dealt with, or was dealt a bad deal by, a corporation, and just to keep it equal via genders, this like say a brother and sister after their father received what we probably want it to be. They need to received I'm going to after they successfully won a legal case against the corporation called, and what I try to do when I'm creating is that I don't want to spend time thinking, oh, what are their names, what names can there be, because what I find is that that really slows down the creation. So this is a bit of sort of like free writing, or almost so I get the concepts and the ideas down. Against a corporation, they came to realize that there were many people and small companies that were at risk of being taken over or subdued by larger and often larger companies. I should keep my writing simple and direct. I flower too much. It's one of my major issues. From this standpoint, they created the project to support local people to stand up to injustice as they won their legal cases. Money credits became available, and the brother and the project started to expand. And let's pop a new paragraph in there. Start off my P tags again. Let's just put a hard return in there as well. Oh, hang on, it doesn't have the slash in, I don't think. I think it's just that. As their popularity increased, more people joined the crusade. That always sounds better than joined the group. And the crusade to ensure that justice was available for all and not dependent on reputation or credits. As the project started to recruit more people, both in their legal team and also in their both in their legal team and throughout the company. Sections of the project developed organically, and before even realizing what was happening, the brother and sister found that they were representing not only small businesses on their planet, but businesses and people across subsectors and sectors. Let's put a hard return in there. Pick up this again. Project Nemesis works on a planet has established centers throughout the sector. These buildings provide the base of operations for a variety of jobs in inverted commas. Although representing small companies, companies and individuals continues to be the staple role of the project. They have diversified, big one word, to include other include a range of other activities. These include, but are not limited to, okay, and this is when it'll be good to add some indication of what Project Nemesis actually does. Okay, so let's grab an unordered list here and start exploration to ensure that legal justice is maintained, is available for all. That's a nice one to start off with. Paste this one in. A collection of information to be able to report illegal acts of all companies and groups of people. So I think for that one, so I think this, the idea that they Project Nemesis has almost like buildings in each subsector on one of the planets, and so this is not hidden or anything. It's quite up there in the face, and in the sense that larger companies know now that they're almost like afraid of Project Nemesis because they've got a reputation. And what big companies or individuals or people do not want to find is that they're actually associated with Project Nemesis in either way. And from Project Nemesis's point of view, they are trying to sort of like ensure that justice is available for everyone within the sector, within the draft sector. And so there's this element of going out and finding where things work. So if they probably have this idea of lots of communication, follow up on communications, and please that they receive. And what I'm trying to do here is almost like think of story arcs that I want to put into the campaign, so I can actually ensure that, you know, if the party are part of Project Nemesis, are working with them as recruits, then I can throw things into the story arc from that. Now, this does not mean that the party are not available to do other things. That's absolutely totally correct. They can do that, but it's almost like rather than working for random people from bulletin boards, which is what they're doing at the moment, they start to develop an allegiance and start to feel that they're working for a company. It also means that the company can support them as well, providing costs or products or things like that. And so there's this dichotomy available now that, you know, do they go to Project Nemesis to try to find the part that they're looking for, or do they go to the black market? And either one of those is absolutely fine. But for me, creating those opportunities where there has to be that choice really adds to the depth of the campaign and the role playing that they're going to be carrying out. You might be familiar with that there's a number of modules or adventures set out for M-Space to start off with. And one of them focuses on something called elevation, which is sort of like a similar circle, a similar group of people working. And I didn't want to sort of like nick theirs. I wanted to sort of like create my own. The other thing that I'm really passionate about when I'm creating is that I don't need to finish this article at this precise moment in time. What I do is that if I can't think of anything, then I leave it and I'll come back to it, because I really prefer that organic growth rather than sitting down and saying, I need to do this now. And actually start to sort of like think about what I'm going to do. So, and I'm going to introduce this probably not in the next session, but the session after that. I sometimes put some notes down as I'm creating, and what I'm going to just pop in here, just above, is almost like talk about story arcs, talk about just put some notes in here that might help me. I like the idea of retrieving equipment. I like that idea. I also like the idea of discovering data, either recording it or getting it, you know, so they actually have to go and grab something. And this is all coming down to this Justice for All. So a story arc might be or gaining it, or even regaining it. So this idea that the data is out there and the party might be employed to go and get it, or to start to retrieve equipment, get back illegally obtained blueprints, or even people. You know, there might be like a search and rescue attempt that they need to go off and actually find these people and bring them back. So we've got, and in the sense that I imagine, I'm just going to make some more notes here. I can imagine that there's various divisions of Project Nemesis. So there's the legal team, data and analysis team. And it's just like this idea that they're this idea operatives in the field, negotiators, that would be a nice one. Political experts. So this idea that there's a whole load of subdivisions of Project Nemesis, and these all work together, and they can almost like call in the party, and this idea that the party is almost like a SEAL team. I don't know what I'm going to call them yet, but this is an aspect of it. And just to say that if you are in the chat, please do, if there's anything that you can think of, please do type it into the chat. But if you just want to listen, that's absolutely fine. And just so you know, I might take your ideas or I might not take your ideas. So please do not be offended if you suggest something and I don't take it on board, because I've just got the whole campaign in my head. The other thing to say is that I do these live, but they'll not remain live. They'll go into members only afterwards. So if you're watching this, then you've caught the first one live when I've actually done it. The other thing is, somebody was asking me whether or not I'm worried about my players hearing what I'm talking about, and the answer is no, I'm not worried at all. They're fantastic role players, and they're not into metagaming or anything like that. They wouldn't use anything to their own advantage. And the other thing is also, it might be that they can add something, and I'm really in favor of co-creating campaigns and settings rather than just saying, oh no, I'm in charge, it's my world or my campaign. I need to think of a different term rather than SEAL team, but hopefully you can see that the party can fit into this quite nicely. And so we've started to get an idea of this. The other things that I need to talk about, so we need to be talk about, I don't want to put headquarters, Project Nemesis bases on the following planets. Okay, so we can then put within the sector. So one of the things that I'm really keen on is that, so if you remember earlier, I showed you the sort of like the overview of the art, the overview of where everything was. Come on. And what I'm really sort of like keen to promote is that we're going to be working within a sector for a period of time, and I think we can keep busy within this sector for a huge amount of time. Remember, each of these are subsectors, and each one of those subsectors actually have a number of planets, etc. in it. I'm not too sure whether or not I've got oh yeah, so this is the Levito system. So you can see that there's this information here that gives all the planets. This is an online program that writes these. It's open software, etc. You can see it down there. I don't think I'm going to carry on using this. I've also started to, and I don't know whether or not I've done it on this one. Have I done it on this one? I've started to make new maps, and the maps that I've started to make are more I don't know how to say it. They're more pictorial. I think that's the best way to look at it, and it's sort of like, let me just close that and see whether or not I've got any of it in my imagery. I don't think I've uploaded anything yet. Oh, right. Okay, then. So they're going to look more like this one. This is what they're going to look like. And then there's going to be, I've got rift gates to put on and things like that. But this is basically what it's going to look like in the system. And I think I've made a mess up already, because this is Levito, which is where the party started off, and they've moved to Sophis over here. But I think I've actually made a mess here, because I've called this this subsector Sophis, which of course it's technically it's not. It's just this sort of like the next system. So this is, I think this is a sector. Somewhere I've actually got all the information about it. Let's just open this in another tab. Yeah, so a subsector is 8 by 10 hexes. So this is 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 10. So this is a sector, a subsector. But within this subsectors, you've then got solar systems or planetary systems like these. So these are sort of like one jump, a jump and a jump away from each other. So it's quite, the scale of this is massive. And so I want Project Nemesis to be, I don't want it just to be across a subsector. I want it across the sector, so I get a lot of adventures from it. I also think it would be really supportive for the playing style as well. It also leads to arcs, you know, do the mission of the characters and the mission of Project Nemesis. Do they start to deviate? Do they diverge from each other? Do they want to get rid of them? But also, I just sort of like thought of another story arc. More within Project Nemesis. You know, is there something, some information that's been leaked or anything like that the party have to go and find out? So I'm building up, as well as building up the actual circle itself, I'm building up much more about this idea of how the characters will interact with it. So I'm almost like making up adventures and the circle both at the same time. So we need to decide the plan on the following planets within each subsector. So it's not going to, it'll just be one base of operations within each sub. So for example, within the Levito one, that might be the first base that they're setting up, and the party might actually be involved in that, or they might not. You know, it'll be up to them. They do know about Levito, the system there, and which is a system. It's not a sector, it's a system. That's where Arid is, their base of operation. Just to let you know, if you've watched any of the the games that we've played, just to be for you to be aware, core the Corporation of Research and Exploration is not just within a sector. That would be within several sectors and several subsectors in there as well. So there's we need to sort that out, but we can't really do that until we got our sector all organized. Right, other things that I need to do with this, we need to identify the circle characteristics. From the book. So this is when M space provides a range of almost like criteria or attributes. So they sort of like talk about their influence, whether or not does concepts never reach corridors or powers, some contact. The circle is a major player in the corridors of power. It has a big impact not only on what decisions are made, but also upon every agenda. And I think we're probably a little bit below that. So like some contacts and influence in the corridors of power under favourable conditions, the circle's concepts can be turned to society-wide policies. And I think that's sort of like where we are. And they're sort of like resource level. So hang on, let's start putting some of these in so we've got them. So the first one is their influence rating. Influence rating. It does have a spell checker, by the way, and I'm going to put that as 10. We're going to have resource level, and this is I'm going to put it at let's say 14, which is classed as average. I might come back and change that somewhat. We then have some idea of the size. And the size gives a number from the core rulebook, but it also gives you an idea of how many people involved. And I think I'm going to probably go with size 7. Which almost like says about 200,000 members, about the size of a small city across, because they're way across the sector. So I think there's quite, that's why it might be that this is higher, I'm going to put it at 15 and say that they're affluent. That's what I am going to go with that for, and we'll see how that goes on. And then it has what's known as attribute descriptions. So it talks about black ops or connected or fear or legal devices and things like that. And this sort of like helps you bring the project or the circle to life. So we've got here possible traits or attributes. And I think for me what it essentially is, I imagine it almost like as an anti-corporation company, something that is almost it definitely has its basis in the legal aspect of the of the corporation, and it's really sort of like in there. I think it has a high social media presence. So it's probably its main way of communicating is through social media rather than the big network. So it often communicates through smaller networks, communication networks we'll put in there. Networks, most definitely. Sometimes interactions make major network presence, especially if interacting with major corporations. That's an interesting thing. I was just sort of like thinking up here whether or not infiltration is something that they would go. I'm thinking not, because that is almost like illegal. And no, we're going to take that off, because I think it goes against their sense of justice to do something that is injustice. It's illegal. So I don't think they would actually do that. Although I wonder how far would they go? They go to reach justice, that's an interesting dilemma for the circle itself, and something that I might feed in as I'm creating or going through sort of like different scenarios. That will be a really interesting thing to think about. What happens. The other thing that would be really good to add in here would be major personnel. Head of each planet base, founders, division leads. Oh, that was something else to consider here, as well. Is, oh, do you want to know? I had a really good idea. I yawned and I've lost it. That's no good at all. What have I got here? I was thinking about division lead. So the founders, head of each planet, division leads. There was something else, and I thought, oh, that would be really good to actually look at for people. It'll come back to me. Probably in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock. That's when it normally wakes me up. Right, okay then. So we've done a huge amount of work on that, which is good. But I'm almost like feeling my creativity on that one slacking a bit. So I need to come back to it at a later date and finish it off. So I'm just going to change it to private and leave it in draft. So what that means is that when I come to look at it, you'll notice it's still got a red dot on it. So nobody can see it at the moment. Only I can look at it. The other thing that I just wanted to show you, World Anvil is a fantastic piece of software, and it's something that I did really sort of like flounder around until I found it, and now it's a really nice place for everything to be. It also allows me to show certain things to certain members. So for example, in the subscriber groups down here, if I can find them, I have a variety of groups that I can actually assign. So all the players are in one, then I can have the green supporters, the red supporters, and I can assign things for them. But the other thing that is really good about it is how it allows me to create adventures. And I'm just, if you're a player and you're watching in, you might not want to listen to this part, but it's completely up to you. So here's my plots, and so you can see these are all this is the one that we're doing at the moment. This was their first ever adventure called Memories Are Important. They've had Protecting the Innocent, and this was It's a Bug Hunt, which that was a classic line from Aliens. So let me show you what this allows me to do. Oh, this is Sons of Black Star, which they just sort of like did recently. So let's look back at It's a Bug Hunt, and you can see straight away that there's almost like a hierarchy of almost like plots. So these are the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and they're in order, and they're all in this bug hunt. And the important thing is, so if I go and look at the top thing, this is the overview, and it doesn't look like this when you actually see it. Let me just when you actually look at it, it looks like this. Now you can see here that there's certain things that are highlighted in yellow, and what that means is that there's another article detailing that. So the dunkers here, you can see once I roll over it, are reptiles that appear to be connected to ostriches. They have gained their name by the way their head bobs as they run, because several times they appear to be sticking their head into the ground looking for a tasty meal. Dunkers are native to arid and do not exist anywhere else. They tend to travel and graze as a pack. And you can read the full article here. You can follow it over, and if there's any more information in there, it'll be available. Now the interesting thing is, and this is what I like World Anvil for the best, is that it allows you to it will do those connections for you. So here, if I was to type here Mort like that, can you see it's immediately given me 2 articles that already exist in World Anvil that I can actually link to. You can do it in the sense that you can say something like inwils, and then in here you can put character like that, and it will create that article for you but not populate it. So if you're writing, you can actually just type that in as you go along. So that's the first thing that is so good about the system, that it links everything together. But the second thing that I find super useful about it to keep all my notes is the way that it organizes, or the way I get it to organize. So you can see here, this is house and job hunting. And just notice that the next plot line here is meeting Mort. So if I go into this article, you can see that everything's connected up, everything's linked, etc. within that article. But if I go to the navigation, you can see here that the parent article, it's a bug hunt, and this has a weighting of 10,000. Now what that means is 10,000, it's number one, so 10,000 will put it at the top. Number two, okay, so if we go to the second one in the bug hunt plot line, so here's meeting Mort. So if I click on that and go to navigation, you will see that this is 9,000. So it actually goes down each time, and so you can link backwards and forwards to it. And then the wonderful thing about this is how I look at it. So when I'm DMing this adventure, I actually let me just bring it up on, I keep pressing my wrong button on my Mac. I bring it up like this, and you can see that this is the overview. These are all the subplots, and then down here, can you see I've got them all at my ready to go. So if they sort of like finish one, I can immediately click over onto the next one and call it up and have that information. And you can see down here at the bottom, you can see the links. So the module, or the part of the adventure before this was house and job hunting. The top one is the bug hunt, and to the left, so this will take me on to the next module, which is going on the hunt. And so I've got all these prepared at my fingertips, and I can quite easily manipulate my way through it, and rather than looking at it in this view, which may not be that helpful. So yeah, so you can see that that's how I operate. Sometimes there's this one I split up into two subplots. So memories are important was the main plot, but then there was in the beginning and then silent angels. So if we sort of like take a look at this one, you notice here that here I've written out, and I've got something that I'm reading to them. And sometimes I do this to keep my language right, in the sense that this one, status, you whisper to the onboard computer, and the computer replies, all systems are functioning at 23.45% efficiency, remaining light support time 1234.45 seconds, atmosphere breathable, outside temperature 311.15 Kelvin. And so I often write things down that I want to sort of like gain the understanding of it. And then you can see I've got notes. This refers to escape pod, what notes, what's contents is in it. And the interesting thing, so at this one, okay, I can actually put that, I can link that anywhere in any of my ventures, but I can also put it in the player information so they have access to it, so they can look at it as well and go backwards and forwards with it. So it's a really fantastic system to use, and I just find it has everything where I want it. So you can see here, these are all my NPCs, and even if I sort of like think, who is Benny McDougal, then there might not be a lot of information, but I can instantly see he's a fix or an offence in, I should say, on Arid there. So it's really good to sort of like keep everything together and working. Now I actually have this for all my campaigns. So Metro City, this is the Destined campaign. So you can see all the Network 7 updates come in here, all the NPCs that I have, the plots here. So we just finished Relic Hunter, and before that we had something to do with In Search of Agony plots and things like that. So that Metro City is Destined. And then this one, which is the huge one, this is Mythras. So this is literally the Odes campaign. And you can see here we've got Spirits of Sea. This is because I'm working on the Animist and what the Animist is going to be like. And on this one, you can see that I actually have overviews of plots here that we've done. I also have little character plots as well. Mist and Shadow is probably one of my favorite ever adventures, because I wanted the players to realize how fragile they were, and they were getting all were super powerful. And so I actually did almost like an attack scene, and I apologize for it because I made it into like a dream. And I remember, I think Hazra was the first person to go down, and he failed a roll and he dropped to the floor, and I had to I had a message ready on Discord to send to him saying, you wake up in your bed covered in sweat, you've obviously had a nightmare, or something like that. So there's so many things tackling insanity. That was the one with Melanie in. This was the Harpy Queen that lasted a huge amount of time. Sleeping Erwood, which is when they met Ulrich for the first time, and so these all sit within these. And so here I've got things like a weather creator and things like that, and so I can share them. The other good thing about it, so these are all my organizations. So this one, which is the Beast Handlers of Odes, I made this up because one of the players wanted to be a beast handler. So I actually made up the whole of these. These are famous beast handlers: the Snake Charmers, Siddar Slither, a non-binary human who apparently has the power to hypnotize snakes. In combat, Cedar is known to hurl their snakes into the faces of their enemies. Does not know whether the snakes are actually trained to attack their foe or whether they are just mad. there are rumours that Sea Dark can actually use snakes to infiltrate experts to get as infiltration experts to gain information and assassinate. And then, of course, I make other things like here. These are the realm walkers, you know, and what the master has and the companions, etc., etc. So all these have been created, and like I say, if you're interested, you can see up here that the Red Dragon supporters, that this actually needs to be altered. Because we need to add the green supporters there as well, and they gain access to that. So green dragon supporters get access to all the background of the information in the campaign, and red dragon supporters get all that, plus they also get to see all the background, all the notes about my adventures. So there's a huge amount here in the Odes campaign, etc., etc. And the M-Space adventure campaign is called Voltaris 42-7. That's what it's called. So plenty of information coming out there. I am hoping to do these on a regular basis. I've got a list of things that I need to create. So do make sure that you're following the subscribe to the channel. Remember, that costs you nothing. But also remember that if you press the bell button, you'll get a notification when I'm actually going live with one of these. Initially, I'm going to try Sunday evening just for an hour. So you can see some background information, and if there's anything that you would like to see, then please do add them in the comments below, and I'll try to help you see that and understand that. If you've got any information that you think might be usable, then please do let me know. And just to let you know, if you do that, I will credit you by saying, you know, this was given by so and so, which would be excellent. I just saw a plus thumb going up there, so I'm assuming somebody must have liked the page, which or liked the video, which, thank you for that. So that's brilliant. Okay, I'm going to call that to an end. I hope that's been helpful, and do come back for some of the others, and I'll see what I can do with the person as well. So yeah, thank you for coming along today, and I hope you've enjoyed that. You can always find out links to all my content in the description below. So yeah, I will see you all next time, and until then, I hope all your post rolls are successful, do reward you with a well-deserved special. Have fun and happy gaming, everyone. See you all real soon. See ya. Bye.